you very much. This is how you look when you drive non-stop from Point Galliota. And you miss your turn off to get to the school. All right, thank you, members of the head table, MP, Fazal, Mayor, trying to collect myself, Brother Saddam. Thank you so much, members of Parliament, honorable political leader who is on her way. Taking up from where the Honorable Saddam Hussein was saying about this Galleon passage, last week Monday we were supposed to have this meeting, and it was postponed because of the inclement weather, and our caring political leader said, get ready to put on your boots and go into the floods to serve the people. But prior to the time of our meeting, there was a press conference in Port of Spain, and I saw it was being held at the Ministry of Transport. And because the Minister of Transport, I think, was the host, I felt they were about to say when the Galleon passage actually was about to set sail. Because I'm Tobagonian, and I keep tabs on the Tobago economy, and the indicators have said that so far, Tobago has lost about $800 million. They have suffered $800 million in losses. And last year, they had 24,000 visitors during the period of the August vacation. This year, that is down by 70%. Now, there was a lot of excitement, I think, on the weekend. Somebody said the Galleon passage was on the move, but it was only going to Stubbs Bay. So, Senator Hussein will have to keep on that because, you know, out of sight is out of mind. You know, because I too want to ask the Minister of Works and Transport, where's the Galleon passage and when will it be placed into service? You know, anytime you ask this government any questions, they say you are unpatriotic. Well, my patriotism requires that I bring to your attention that this economy of Tobago has sunk. It is finished. They have completely wasted that economy now. It's lying waste. And there's the Minister of Works gathering up in Manuel Congo, going on a photo ops with public servants. So he's showing the very absent MP the work he has been doing. That's why I want to ask him, which work? Because you know I've been up in La Hoqueta Talparo, and there's no work being done. Then on the weekend, you know all these fellas like they're in a Hollywood production. So he feels he's Brad Pitt. So you're on the banks of the East Tri River, posing with backhoe. As if, I mean, every minister of works know that you dredge that river because Port of Spain will flood if there's a drizzle. After there have been 3 floods in Port of Spain for this rainy season, he's now posing with his backhoe. You know, they used to ridicule the UNC for building box drains. I think the honorable political leader is here. Rise for the entrance of the honorable political leader. Welcome to the honorable political leader of the UNC, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Honorable Leader. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Political Leader. So the PNM declared that the days of giving out hampers were over. They have nothing to give to anyone. So they went along with their let's do this sing along and convinced people that they could have done better at creating jobs, at managing the economy, at managing healthcare, managing education, creating jobs. They fooled the people and said we have a vision for young people. They knew about providing a safety net for the poor and vulnerable. But last Saturday, and today I was reading it in the papers, I saw where the Minister of Social Development was speaking to a crowd somewhere along the East-West corridor. And she was bragging that her measurement for her achievement in the ministry was how many food cards she could have taken away from the poor. She bragged that she had taken away 18,000 food cards because those persons could not be validated. Now I want to know who will submit themselves to the indignity of saying, I can't feed myself, so give me a food card. This woman was bragging and they were clapping. I have taken away all of those food cards and I've helped the government. I'm saving money for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I want them to tell me, those 4 ministers who bought a lemon that Kaibu sale for over $100 million, who validated that? Was there any validation process? You can go out and look at a brochure and validate some boat and bring it here that can't sail, that all you're hiding now in Stobbles Bay. But 18,000 of our poor people, you are saying you cannot find. I wonder if the minister knows what it is to go to bed with a belly empty. What it is to know when your sugar pan empty. Why couldn't she have gone and boasted about the homework center she had built in her in some community, the single mothers she has saved, some young lives that she had intervened in? No, she was bragging about food cards. And you know now it's much harder. It's not about the alleviation of poverty. It is much harder now to you could get a bank, but you know you could hardly get a bank loan. But it is easier for them to watch a brochure and spend $100 million without validation than for you to get a food card. You can't get a food card. You know, she was bragging that 2 police officers were denied some food card or it was taken away. You don't know the circumstances. It could have, there must have been something on the record to have entitled them to this food card. But that was a reason for the minister to brag. This is a very wicked, selfish government, you know, and it runs throughout the way they manage this country. So I want to tell you, up to September of 2018, the government of Trinidad and Tobago was handing out 100 keys a week. When this changed, they asked the then Minister MacDonald, are you going to continue with 100 keys a week? She said, no, that is foolishness. In the same vein, you know what they're doing? Last week they handed out about 76 homes. Now what that means, they have handed out 76 homes in 3 years. It means they are building at a rate of 25 homes a year. Now we handed out over 8,156 keys. 8,156 keys. If the PNM is to meet that and match it, it will take them 336 years. Are you going to keep the PNM in government for 336 years? Can you imagine that? They're building at a rate of 25.33 homes per year. And they're bragging. We have given out 76 keys, and we have given 20 to members of the national security. I want to tell them tonight, we gave out over 800 keys to members of the national security. Over 800. And after we did that, because this is a government of viciousness, because they can't match In no way, shape, or form or performance. What did they do? When they came into office, they leaked the names of the members of the national security to the media. That was a long-running series. Just as they leak the current commissioner, his score. You know they leak it too, eh? So we also did, with that little couture, we did 380 homes. We gave out keys to 380 homes for people who have been waiting for over 20 years, over the 5 years. We built, because they were building houses and they were not building lift stations and wastewater treatment plants, they will just build without approvals and so on. We went ahead and we built over 20 wastewater plants so we could have given out all of those houses. Now, having done that, because we had a plan, there was a vision. They had all of these housing sites. People were criticizing us, why aren't you giving out the houses? But we could not have, because they had no wastewater plant. They just had all these houses. When you flush the toilet, it was going to drain right there. In Retrench, in Golconda, in Las Alturas, in Current. The wastewater was, raw sewage was flowing in the drains. So we had to go, and we went on an aggressive drive to ensure that these houses were well outfitted. Now, having done that, with the help of the then Attorney General, Mr. I.A.N Ramlogan, we were able to vest 33 properties, because these properties, they had, as I said, they had no town and country planning, no WASA, no approval at all. So we had to go, we got all of these approvals, and we got 33 vested. What that meant is that good title could pass and people could buy their houses. Before, HTC was handing out houses under something called a license to occupy. So it meant when people went in the house and they got sweet. You know, after they went in the house, they want a fridge, they want a bigger fridge, they want a bed, they want a king-size bed and what have you. So their credit profile went up and somehow they couldn't approach the bank for a loan because the gearing was so high. What we did is to ensure that all of the units, all of the housing developments had all of the approvals, so people were sent directly to the banks. Now, having done the 33 sites with the then Attorney General, you know what happened? We found that we had $7.4 billion in equity, which we could have leveraged. We could now have leveraged. We left that there. We didn't meet that there. We left that there. So when I'm seeing that the Minister of Finance is talking about going to raise new bonds, because you know this bonds thing, they're sweet on debt, you know, is that is leveraging the country even more. So when you talk also about this NIF, that it's oversubscribed, you must ask them who subscribing it, whether it was NIB. If NIB would say we'll run out of money just now, they're the ones who have caused it to be oversubscribed. All of these questions you have to ask these people, you know. Never mind when they shout at you and call you unpatriotic. But we left $7.4 billion of assets there, which they could leverage now to turn over into new housing stock. But you know, even when you leave the key, you leave the door, you leave it open as we did in the hospital. You know, they can't push it open and put in the 300 doctors. You know, it's always a problem for this wicked government. So I'm telling the Minister of Finance tonight, you don't have to go and leverage the country any further. You have $7.4 billion at the time. I don't know if you all have vested any more of these housing developments, but at the time you had $7.4 billion, and what we were doing was to turn it over into the rebuilding of Port of Spain, because this leader, who is compassionate, she had said, I want everybody to understand, to learn, to know, to feel, to own a home of their own. And she said everyone who has been living in an HDC house or unit for over 30 years, give it to them for $100. Give it to them for $100. That's a compassionate leader. That's a leader with vision. It meant, ladies and gentlemen, that had the UNC been returned to government, right now, there would have been a job for every man, woman, and child in Port of Spain, out of Port of Spain, all in Shoguanas, straight down to Icacas. A job, because Kamla Prasad Misesa is a job-creating machine. She knows how to create jobs. She knows when there are opportunities, crime goes down. There is an inverse relationship between jobs, opportunity, and I'm sure that MP Fazal will talk about all of the program. There is a relationship with having a safe and secure country and having opportunities, having accessible opportunities. And there's also a relationship when you have nothing to do. And what happens? The whole system has collapsed. So I'm asking you this evening to go out, my brothers and sisters, ensure that people understand and remember the good work that was done by the UNC. The People's National Movement, they understand that they cannot beat us, they cannot match us in performance, so they have spread all kind of lies and rumors and bacchanal. But I tell them, whenever the election is called in 2020, the UNC, I'm saying, make Kamla Prasad Bisesa your bridge over troubled waters, because in the house of the rising sun, there are many mansions. And if it were not so, I would have told you, there are equal opportunities to all. Right now in the PNM, they have Leon's is a backbencher, Nicole is a backbencher, the Brigadier Antoine is a backbencher. You know what they're calling themselves? The black benchers. In the UNC, we have no black benchers. We only have performers. What we have are performers. They are black benchers. You understand? Because for Rowley like Trump had said, he had one no black man counting money, he only want Jews. So Rowley is the same thing. So I want to thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and have a good night.
Thank you very much, Deputy Political Leader, Ms. Jolene John. And I must say, you handled yourself well in that sari. Friends, as we move on, I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Nyahuma Obika, who is the former High Commissioner to Nigeria and the father of Tahaka Obika. Our chairman, Mr. Peter Kanhai, who's working very hard this evening. And of course, with us, MP Rudy Indar Singh. Make some noise for our MPs in the house. As we move on, friends, you are in Chaguanas East, a constituency in which the PNM has their eyes on. But this evening, with the presence of you here, we send a message to the PNM, you have no place in Chaguanas East. In 2015, we had a man who wiped them out, and that's our next speaker. A revolutionary minister of tertiary education, a man who raised tertiary level attainment to beyond 66%. He widened the GATE program. He's the Member of Parliament for Chaguanas East. Let us welcome MP Fazal Karim.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Vandana, one of our councillors. The Honorable Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, Senior Counsel, Political Leader of the UNC, Member of Parliament for Superior, Leader of the Opposition. And in a few days' time, we will be celebrating 56 years of independence. And within that period of time, this is the best Prime Minister this country has ever seen and will soon see again. Deputy Political Leader, Ms. Jolene John, Deputy Political Leader, Ms. Jolene John, His Worship the Mayor of Chaguanas, councillors, aldermen, councillors, particularly those who have just spoken, Samuel Sanka and Andel Paramsuk, of course, Vandana, members of the National Executive, the Constituency Executive, parliamentary colleagues, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you. I don't think we have any, we only have standing room. And I want to thank all of you for coming out to this massive meeting in Chaguanas East. Welcome. We apologize for the postponement on last Sunday because of the inclement weather. But at 6:20 p.m. when I was here to make sure that people who came in error, who did not get the announcement, I met with Bellman and his friends all the way from Maruga at 6:20, and they are here again tonight. My dear ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask some questions. After 3 years of this Rowley-led I.A.N government and having spent $167 billion, the question is, are you better off today than you under the UNC? Do you think this incompetent, uncaring, and vindictive government should continue to be in office? Can they manage the affairs of our country, our people, our economy? Is it time to vote them out? And is it time to be led by Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa as our Prime Minister again? Ladies and gentlemen, for the last 3 years, the single most critical problem facing us as a nation is crime. And after 3 years and $24 billion being spent, what do we have to see? More lives are being lost on a daily basis. The figure has exceeded 350 murders for the year. And right here in central Trinidad, over 2,900 crimes have been reported from 2015 to the current date. We know what happens when it is like this with crime. It affects businesses, it affects the economy, it affects tourism, it affects manufacturing, it affects productivity, it affects additional costs in terms of business opportunities, and it even affects people who want to go and worship their Lord. People are afraid to even go to church in this country because once it gets dark, they don't know what is happening. I want to tell you, the question always is, so what are we doing? And in the Chaguanas East constituency, I want to compliment the 3 councillors, the UNC councillors, and particularly the one, Andel Paramsuk, in whose electoral district we are here. He has formed 18 neighborhood crime watch groups in the last couple of months. And of course, with Vandana and with Samuel Sanka, we are holding meetings with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. I want to tell you as well, we will not let up. We have been asking questions. And I want to tell you, the minister, the former Minister of National Security, is unanswered on record in the Parliament to my question, will you construct a full-fledged police station enterprise? And he said yes. To date, he has not done it. No wonder why he's now in housing. Because where the police is, and we want to commend them for the work they're doing, they're in a HDC house at Lionsgate. I am calling upon the new Minister of National Security, Stuart Young, to ensure that the promise that was made by his former colleague is fulfilled. We call now for a full-fledged police station in Enterprise. As I say that, as I call for the police station, I want to join with my political leader in congratulating Captain Gary Griffith, the new Commissioner of Police. And I want to take this opportunity to invite the Commissioner of Police to ensure that Chaguanas East is one of the first stops in his tour of duties. Ladies and gentlemen, we are doing some work in Chaguanas East with respect to crime because the situation is, so you have crime, what are you doing about it? I want to compliment the Rudan Dojo, Sensei Marva John Logan, Sensei Adrian Seeley. I want to also compliment the people at Das Trace Empowerment Committee, led by Rolston Dokoto. I want to also ensure and tell you that what we have been doing is training other people. Over the last year, we have graduated over 100 persons in various disciplines, in skills training, in computers, in how to work from home, in how to make your money at home. And as I talk about Das Trace, you know, every time we in the Parliament talk about education, and we raise an issue about discipline or indiscipline or problems in the school system, Mr. Anthony Garcia gives us one answer. Well, we have school-based management and it's working. I want to tell Mr. Garcia today, I wrote him months ago, and I want to make it this public announcement, and I want to make this public request of him. Let the people in enterprise also have school-based management. Open right now the Oasis ACC Center in Dar Straits and the primary school. You said, it was you who said that these schools are 99% completed. Well, if they're 99% completed, open it for the 3rd of September in the new academic year. Why are you denying the people of enterprise the opportunity for a good education, for good jobs, for living a good quality of life? And as I talk about jobs, this is an area that pains me. In 3 years, as if they're doing this thing arithmetically, the PNM government has ensured that 35,000 people have lost their jobs. And when we ask them, where's your job plan? Where's your job strategy? The Minister of Labour said, we have jobs, it's coming. We have truck to drive in Canada. That is where the jobs are. Go and drive trucks, long hauler truck. I want to also tell you, they said that they were going to rescue this country from the despotic anti-UNC Labour regime. Under Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, with Minister Indar Singh and the full and Minister MacLeod, we have concluded the most amount of industrial relations agreement under Mrs. Bissessar. But you know, as a member of parliament, and I'm sure some of my colleagues are experiencing it, daily we have people come into our offices with school book lists. They don't have jobs, they can't afford to buy books, they can't afford to pay rent, they can't afford to buy food. This is the country that we are living in under a Keith Rowley-led PNM government. And we say that no statement is sufficient for us to condemn the actions of the PNM, and it is time for them to be skating out of office. As I speak about education, I am calling upon the Minister of Education to make your promise good to the maxi taxi drivers who are bringing students to school from Monday the 3rd, and pay the contractors of the school feeding program. Some of them cannot afford to open their kitchens. What are you doing about? And when we ask about jobs, and we ask the Minister of Trade, Mrs. Paula Gopiskun, why don't you open on the E-Tech Park right here in Sugrim Trace, Sugrim Road, now it's Sugrim Highway. You have lands there from E-Tech, open an industrial estate. She said that is not on the cards. But she goes to Cuba, comes in the parliament and says, if you want to hear about diversification, we open a new line of bubble gum at a confectionery store. That's what it is. They have no vision, they have no clue. And as we talk about jobs, they have a fella in the parliament who does always tell me, I want to follow the money. I want to follow the money, so I want to tell him tonight, I want him to follow this money. They brought a fella from Port of Spain who is employed in the OJT program. He is now in Shogunasi at the head office. And he has been paying among 28 people, his mother and friends and family, ghost people, over $1 million. I call upon that minister to follow this money and investigate this matter now. As a matter of fact, as we talk about following the money, we talk about a program. I have the registration number here, I can call it. There is a program that is now being conducted in this country. It is conducted by a person who runs the Savile Row Academy in London, which has a registration number of 1133681. And it is a registered charity operating as a teaching academy and is registered to operate in England and Wales. I want to tell you tonight, and I want the national community to listen to this. This person, and I'll tell you the name just now, has a class of 20 persons at a cost of $3.2 to $4.7 million for 20 students. It was stated in the budget by the Minister of Finance that this class in tailoring a certificate would have been conducted at the UTT, John Donaldson Technical Institute. If you want to prove me wrong, go to page 58 of the 2018 budget speech, 4 lines on the left side, 1 paragraph. That program is now being conducted at the MIC Institute of Technology, which was in fact chaired by my colleague, Dr. David Lee, I asked the question, who gave the instruction to move it from UTT to MIC? I asked the question as well, is this program accredited? Is it accredited in England? Is it accredited in Trinidad? And if not, we are paying taxpayers, subsidizing $160,000. The students are asked to pay $10,000 for a program that is not accredited. So you, the taxpayers, are paying money for an unaccredited program. I ask you, when programs are unaccredited, where will these students get jobs when they're finished? But that is not all. And as a matter of fact, I almost forget to tell you, you must look at the suits of the Prime Minister. That is what you call bespoke tailoring. Listen, I'm not talking, listen, don't get me wrong, I never say it's bicycle and spoke. I said it is bespoke tailoring. Watch the suits, and then you will understand what is happening. I want to read something for you, and I want to ask the question. The Prime Minister and some of his other colleagues who are using these suits, it is our information that a lot of these suits have been brought into the country free of duty, free of custom duties, and I ask them to respond to that. You mustn't want to point fingers at the UNC. Look at what you are doing. But I want to read for you what the Honorable Prime Minister said a few days ago. We have a responsibility to understand economic enslavement. It is not only working on the plantation that could result in enslavement. It is the denial of opportunity. Let me repeat that. He says economic enslavement is the denial of opportunity and the missing of opportunity that could result in enslavement. I asked the Honorable Prime Minister today, tell us who cut the GATE program, who reduced the subventions by $569 million in the tertiary sector, and who continue to do that? How many people have lost their jobs? But I want to also tell you, I want to ask him, why are you denying the people of Enterprise and Chaguanas East opportunity for education? But very importantly, under Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, we landed a Boeing 727-300 jet in Camden. And what you don't like about it, let them tell us. Under Mrs. Bisesa, I don't know how many of you were at the Mid-Center Mall at our first anniversary celebrations. Mrs. Bisesa said then that that was going to be the second airport in Trinidad. And I tell you, I am sure when she returns, that she will open that second airport at Camden in Cuba. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you a little bit about that. I have a feeling I know why they don't want to open that UTT campus, the aviation. But I call upon the Prime Minister, Minister Garcia, don't deny the students of this country an opportunity to have a career in aviation. Open the aviation campus now. Open the Penal de Bay campus now. Open the dental school, the expansion now. But I have a feeling I know why they're stalling. They never liked the slogan because it was a slogan I coined, from cutting cane to flying plane. And I want to tell you, as I wind up, I want to tell you a little bit about UTT. Nowhere anybody want to build a university campus in Wallafield. It has a house, it has a dormitory, it has no bus service, it has no taxi service. People don't know it's only a set of farm. But what UTT did, that is why they have to send home so many people. I asked the University of Trinidad and Tobago to tell me, as the former Minister of Tertiary Education, why did you take $350 million and transfer it to the Tamana campus, something that cannot open? You closed down the energy sector program as well. But you know, I want to spend a few minutes quickly on the Chaguanas East constituency. It is important for us to indicate that we have done so many things. We have in our constituency a shortage of primary school places. We have the visit, after the visit in June by Minister Ron Sinanan, I am calling upon the minister, please clean the Lalan River, please clean the Kapara River, and end the suffering of the people on Bridal Road and Endeavour. Every time it rains and it pours, it floods. I want to also ask him to construct a bridge. It has collapsed in Marchand and that water is backing up. We ask you to ensure as well the government complete the African Community Center and Enterprise and make it valuable, the postal service for Oasis. And therefore, my brothers and sisters, as I conclude, I want to take this opportunity to thank Mrs. Prasad Bisesa for the sterling leadership she has provided to this country. And I want to, as I conclude, I want to take this opportunity to extend Eid ul-Adha greetings to all members of the Muslim community and those who are in Mecca at this time in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as pilgrims. I thank you very much. God bless.
A round of applause again for your Member of Parliament for Shogunas, MP Fazal Karim. Brothers and sisters, it truly feels as if we are on the road to government. So I want to say good night to the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Recognizing we also have MP Vidya Guiding Gopi Singh, MP Ramona Ramdial, and MP Christine Walosi, and a round of applause for them as well. My job ends tonight by bringing up a young man. This young man is studying communications and has been recently accepted to enroll for his LLB in law at the University of the West Indies in St. Augustine. He's a social activist from Montrose, right here in the constituency of Shogunas East. Please join me in welcoming young Victor Scott Furman. A round of applause for the young man, please.
Good night. Once again, my name is Victor. I am from Montrose, Shogunas, and I am thankful for the opportunity to introduce to you a leader, a woman whose career spans decades, serving in local government as an alderman in the former St. Patrick's Country Council. This woman is a woman of many firsts in the national arena. The first woman to lead the opposition, the first woman to be the Attorney General, the first woman to be Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. A senior counsel, a woman of many distinctions and accolades. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to stand and generously welcome the political leader of the UNC, Kamla Prasad Bisesa.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much for your very warm welcome here tonight in Montrose. And before I share with you some thoughts, I just want to pay tribute to the young man who introduced me from this constituency, Victor. I am told that he voluntarily, for 1 month, meaning free of charge, that he was teaching sixth form students right here. Is that so, MP? Sixth formers, 300 students. So can we congratulate them all? To my UNC family, we say good evening.
It is very good to meet with you and to share with you. I recognize it's been some time since we were on a Monday night platform of the UNC to speak with you. And since then, a lot has happened. A lot of water has flowed under the bridge, and more water has flowed over the bridge since then. I know that we have continued to endure a lot of hardship under this uncaring, wicked, incompetent Rowley government. So a lot has happened in the past few weeks. But what we are seeing is that the Rowley PNM has a clear agenda. And we must remain alert and ever conscious to see that agenda, to see their narrative, and to ensure we do not get distracted on the byroads and back roads of PNM propaganda and wickedness and incompetence. And so they answer to no one. They answer only to those holding the wallet, to the 1% financiers, to friends and family. And so, as we join you here good tonight, I want to congratulate our MP Fazal and the team who mobilized for this meeting here tonight as we thank them. A great meeting, a very great meeting. I want to thank the UNC supporters who over the last 3 years, they have helped to rebuild, to renew and restructure our very great party. Let us say thank you to all of you here and all those other UNC stalwarts. Many of our members have worked tirelessly in preparing the party for the by-elections, in helping to prepare our party for local elections next year, and of course for the general elections whenever they are called. We have done a tremendous amount of work behind the scenes, and again, I thank all those persons who have worked with us over the past 3 years, tirelessly rebuilding our party. Their work has been reflected in the last local government elections. This was the one in 2016, where we got more votes than the PNM. We were able to hold our strongholds and to increase the popular vote, as I say, more than the PNM. This work has been reflected in the recent by-elections in Barataria and in Belmont. Can we thank Sharon and Liana and the teams who worked in those 2 by-elections? And in reminding us of the victory in those by-elections, I want to urge you, do not be distracted by the naysayers. Do not be distracted by those who pretend or try to give an impression that nothing is happening in this great party. Nothing is further from the truth. We will admit that we must improve and we must do more, but we must count our victories, we must count our blessings and acknowledge the work that is being done in this party. Too often detractors, they don't want to work, you know. They're detractors, some of them, they don't want to work. They never want to help. They never want to mix with the rank and file. They will never attend a meeting. Yes? You think they'll attend a march or a walkabout? No, 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 no. They prefer to stay out there in the stratosphere, close to Mars, to try to distract you and the hard-working people of this party. Do not be distracted by naysayers. Our political opponents are out there. Their job, remember, is to destroy us. The political naysayers and detractors and opponents, their job is not to lift you. Their job is not to grow you. That job, to lift you, to grow us, to strengthen us, to build us, to have victory, that job is yours, the members of our great party. And so, some of these distractors, they don't really care about you, you know. All they want is your vote. And they will see. I want you to make no mistake, you know. I want to remind you. You would have had leaders before me. You will doubtless have leaders after me. But I know you will never ever have a leader who loves you as much as I do. And that is why I always tell you, half of me belongs to you. It belongs to you. And the other half I give to you. So all of me belongs to you. 3 years have passed. 3 years have passed. Maybe less than 2 to go. I ask again, I request again, I call again, anyone who wants to help, anyone who is interested in working to continue to build our great party, welcome, come on board. Come and work with the ones who are here working. And tonight, I want to make it crystal clear. I've said it before, but I want to repeat that when the next election comes around, 2020 or before, make no mistake, don't come to us and expect that we will put you ahead of those who have been laboring day and night for this party. This time around, don't expect that you can bash our great party for 5 years. I mean, elections roll around. You come to say, I am the savior. Not this time. Not this time. The young soldiers of this party, the young soldiers of our great party, the numbers continue to increase with each passing day. And the not so young soldiers who have been in the trenches and in the vineyards, together we will make a formidable team of the young and the experienced ones as we go forward to victory. Tonight I want to acknowledge and accept, yes, we made mistakes. And yes, there are many, many ways that we can improve. Your opinions may differ. Come speak with us, I say, join with us. Let us work together to improve, no matter which party you may belong to. We welcome you now. Our doors are open, as Jillian told you before. In the house of the rising sun, there are many mansions and many rooms. And so we welcome all who are willing to work to build Trinidad and Tobago for progress and unity in our land. Our doors are open, and now is the time. The time is now. Welcome aboard. You know, I've spent most of my adult life in our great party. I have worked tirelessly to build our great party, as many others have done. But one thing I have never done is to badmouth our great party. I have never done that. In the worst of times and in the best of times, I have always stayed steadfast in my firm belief in the values, in the principles and philosophy of our great party. And that is what constitutes our vision and our mission. The vision that we have for our country and for the people of this country. And that is what informs my life's work and your life's work, which forms the mission that we have, which is to serve all the people of Trinidad and Tobago, regardless of race, regardless of religion, regardless of geography. I ask you, will you join me in this task as we unite to take all of our country forward? Will you join me? And I thank you for that. I worked hard, as so many others here, and not here, but who are listening and out in our country. So many of us have worked really hard. And you know why? Because of the care and love we have for the rank and file members. This party has always been people-centered. We have never been about the 1%. We are about the 99%, all of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I never did anything to damage this party to benefit myself. Because you know why? I always understood that it is you, John Public, and Mary Public, and Sita Public, and Harry Lal Public, and every ordinary person in this land. You matter most. I see the same love of party in the eyes of the young ones coming up, and we should not block them. I am not so young, but I welcome the youth in our party. Let us welcome and thank them and call for more of them to come forward. And so, the future is bright. We will move forward. We must work hard not to repeat the mistakes of the past. We must learn to be more humble. We must learn to reach out more. We must learn above all to build bridges. And we must not listen to others who may be sitting on the fence, but we must be willing to give them a hearing and to ask them, come on board, let us work together. To the young ones, the future of our great party, I know you will have setbacks. I know there are people who try to knock you down. I have one message for those young people who are coming in to the rank and file and into the politics. This is a message. Get up, lift your head, keep moving forward, be strong and proud. I am UNC and I am proud. I am UNC and I am proud. We are UNC and we are proud. Above all, we are UNC and we will deliver. We are UNC and we are UNC and we are proud. I thank you very much. I thank you for your support and the love you have shown. And above all, I thank you for the great work that you continue to do in spite of the naysayers and the detractors and the obstacles. I told you once, in Mid-Center Mall, when certain things had happened, they call it a no woman, no cry speech. I said, I learned one thing, and that has kept me going, to put God in front and walk behind. I learned that when you get knocked down, you get up, dust off yourself, and keep going, forward ever, backward never. And my friends, tonight, as I share some personal experiences of our struggles, of the challenges we have faced, I want you to compare it with this man. Kevin, put your video on, please.
She could drink this, she could drink that. She could back me down, we can know she just. 1/3 of the murders in recent times are domestic violence or domestic issues. And then that, you call on the Prime Minister to do something about crime. I'm not in your bedroom, I'm not in your choice of men. And I go, of course, like a woman. You gotta groom her every day. Yeah, be careful, be careful. Otherwise it turns into a pasture. Could behave as an effective opposition leader. I think the country is better for that. But geometry is not really the way to deal with these things. Was that the word you used? I choose my words very carefully.
Prime Minister, I'd like to take the conversation to a more social realm, the social climate. You look on social media.
It's Christmas time, we should have some drinks then.
Well, perhaps of the non-alcoholic flavor.
Well, that is not a drink.
You look at...
His comments follow growing concern over a skit at the PNM's Family Day on Sunday, which depicted the disrobing of a woman in a yellow sari by two men in red-toned gorilla suits.
We will disregard such foolishness, and we will not take any responsibility for persons who are trying to create discord.
In the aftermath of the PNM's Family Day, several religious and political groups have condemned the act, its interpretation of Hindu religious texts, and its meaning for women's rights.
I will ask you to judge for yourself. I say no more. It is no laughing matter. No laughing matter. It is a pattern of behavior we have seen from day one. I say no more on that. That is in your hands. Judge and jury, the population of Trinidad and Tobago. I want to move on to something I consider very important. And it has to do with the bond issue with respect to what they've termed the NIF Holding Company Limited. Bear with me a little. We have humor, yes, but this is a very serious, no laughing matter as well. the NIF bond issue. When I last raised concerns about this program, the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance accused me and others of being unpatriotic. Now, they have one stock response. When we raise issues of concern, they say we are unpatriotic, and of course, the one word, everything is foolishness. Everything raised is foolishness. So I told you then that the government had lied about the NIF. In May 2018, on the 10th, Minister Imbert announced that he was going to sell 49.9% of the shares of this new company he announced as the NIF holding company. March 22, at a PNM meeting in Diego Martin, Minister of Finance said, and I quote, all of these assets, which total over 10 billion, will be the security for the National Investment Fund. We are going to sell units in that fund to the general public, so you can now own part of the Republic Bank, WICO, OCM, MHI, and so on. Still continue quotation. So we are giving back all of these assets owned by the sale group to you, the people. You hear lie? That is lie. Giving back these assets to you, the people. Lying. Another article told us, Imbert said, such investors in the fund will benefit themselves and help the country by generating public revenues to be used in job creation. He said further, I quote, I am making an appeal, support your country, support yourself, keep people in jobs. You will be investors, you'll be shareholders. You hear lie? That is lie too. We know now that instead of giving citizens an opportunity to invest, to own part of the companies, the NIF was in fact going to borrow from you. You are going to be the NIF's bank. Let us make something very clear. They put all these ads, they spoke on platforms. This is a gift to the nation. This is a PNM's gift to the ordinary people of the land. You hear lie? That is lie too. This is not a gift to anyone in this country. Your taxpayer dollars already paid for these assets. And now they come to borrow again through the NIF. And what this really means is that you are paying twice over for this. I'd warned before in all these high interest things they ask you to give them your money, high interest, you'll get back high rates of interest and so on. When time comes to pay, they cannot pay you. It happened to Clico already. I saw something recently from one of the banks, I think it's called TIS. Again, high interest rates, what's going to happen? But these guys are not going to be there when these bonds mature. Who will have to pay them back? You, the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago. Government's intention is not to benefit workers or the public. It was never their motivation. They are money hungry to spend on vanity projects. This is not for the ordinary man. It is for the 1%, the friends and the family and financiers of the PNM. The Minister of Finance is now boasting that government was making provision for a man who has untouched savings of $100,000, $250,000 lying around in the bank, and they could withdraw it and put it in this NIF. Minister, but where are you living? How many people in this country have $100,000 sitting in a bank or $250,000? People don't have money to buy books for their children to go to school, to buy uniforms, to buy medicines. And you talk about having a spare idle 100,000, 250. Come on, man, you are tone deaf. You do not know the reality and the suffering that people are experiencing in this country to come to talk about a gift to the nation, but they have to lend you $100,000 and $200,000. That man, as I say, is totally out of touch with reality. Which one of you here, ordinary people, have 100,000 and 200 sitting idle in a bank? And so here he is and his gunman. They are desperate for funds to spend on their vanity projects for their 1%. Let me just share, they said they don't have money to do this, they don't have money to do that. But they have money to do all these things. Paintings, $3 million. Soca on the Seas, $0.45 million. A new PM1 Benz, $2 million. The CL Financial Sexual Harassment Matter, $3.5 million. Art Collins and the Trump phone call, $16 million. Taruba Stadium, $130 million. Red House, $440 million. Booker Estate, $174 million. A toilet paper factory loan, man, $30 million. Up to now, we don't know who are the owners of this company. It was Granby, St. Lucia, yes. We don't know who they are. The trade unions promised hush money of $15 million. Don't forget Shamfa's Roman bill, $59,000. Don't forget Darrell Smith's Tobago Romping Weekend, $92,000. Don't forget the Bayard Massey Communications, $225 million. Ernst & Young audits, $20 million. PwC audits, $10.5 million. House in Tobago, another several million. Jazz Festival, $12 million. Golf Course North, $3 million. Golf Course South, $0.25 million. Fet match to open the Brian Lara Stadium. You know how much? $2.5 million. Fake oil, about $100 million. Not an investigation, not a report. The police doing that. I call on the new commissioner. Gary, congrats. I call on the new commissioner of police to investigate AV drilling and the fake oil scandal. Investigate it. The Cobo Star mobilization fee, $13 million. Ocean Flower 2 mobilization fee, $20 million. Repairs to the Spirit and so on, $60 million. You know, the list will go on and on. And Saddam's senator today talked about the boats, the ghost boats. Well, the Tobago Bridge has definitely fallen down under this Rowley government. So here they say they don't have money, but they could find money for all these vanity projects, none of which will benefit the ordinary people of Trinidad and Tobago. So I come back on the NIF issue, and we're saying they're desperate for money to spend on what? And those are some of the examples I've given you. Those are some of the things they've spent the money on. They spent over $150 billion in their less than 3 years, you know. More than we ever spent in our 3 years. But one thing, under the partnership, you could see it, the schools, the police station. You could see it, you could touch it everywhere throughout Trinidad and Tobago, the delivery and the performance. Last year, Minister Embed again, in his lust to tax people, he threatened the property tax. At that time, very illegal. He has people panic, believing they will lose their homes if they did not comply. We had to take them to court, you remember? To get them to admit that their actions were illegal. Last month, I think someone spoke about it already, and they rushed to get tax upon tax upon tax to get money to spend on these vanity projects. They rushed and implemented a tax on the lotto, on the playway, and so on. Illegally. No law in place. They went illegally. And you know, they said they will pay back. Well, how are you going to pay back the smaller players who were paid at the lotto machine? They will never be repaid. That money was taken illegally from them, and they will never see that money that was taken illegally. So we cannot trust anything this government says. And that is not all. The minister is now crowing all over Trinidad and Tobago that the NIF bonds have been oversubscribed. So that sounds great. They've done very well. But let us see what was the sleight of hand that they undertook in order to be able to come to boast they are oversubscribed. He said the ordinary people wanted to lend the government money. So ordinary people will buy these bonds, because you know what? You're also anxious to lend Embed money to spend on soca cruises and paintings and golf courses and so on. Of course, we know, you hear a lie? Those were lies too. First, we call upon the minister to tell us how much of the bonds were taken up by individual citizens, John public, ordinary people. Because I know and you know This was never for ordinary people like you. Second, Minister must tell us how much of the bonds were taken up by state enterprises, government institutions. Again, what will they be doing? Spending your money to buy the bonds. Is the government using state funds to give the perception that the bonds were oversubscribed? Tell us how much was taken up by insurance companies, by credit unions, by other licensed financial institutions. You see, because I have news for them. It is very likely that once again, Imbert has acted contrary to law, in violation of the law. He knows it, and he knew it when the bonds were being issued, when they put out the prospectus. And they still went ahead to do it, even though it was illegal. Putting billions of assets in insurance companies, credit unions, and the financial institutions at risk. This is a man in charge of our finances, our treasury. I have evidence of this. I have evidence that he knew that he was breaking the law. I have evidence that he knew these financial institutions were acting illegally. He knew. It is not just total incompetence. This may amount to financial impropriety and fraud in breach of the law. I have in my possession a copy of a document dropped in my mailbox by a concerned citizen, I assume, fed up of the duplicity and illegality of Imbert and the Rowley government. I hold in my hand here two documents. One is a note for the Cabinet of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. It is dated July 26, 2018. And the heading of the note is Proposed Amendments to the Financial Institutions Act, Chapter 7909, and the Insurance Act, Number 4 of 2018, to support the NIF HCL, amongst other things. This is a cabinet note. On the same date, this is a cabinet minute, confirmed cabinet minute, dated July 26, 2018, in which the cabinet agreed to the recommendations from the note with respect to amendments to the Financial Institution Act and Insurance Act to allow for an increase in the credit excess liability of licensed financial institutions and licensed companies related to an investment in a bond by a consumer to wholly agree and committed. They're agreeing to change the law. But what? Ex post facto. After the fact, where they have now placed these financial institutions, government institutions and non-government institutions, at risk, financial risk. So your money in these credit unions, your money in these insurance companies, taxpayers' dollars in state enterprises is now jumping up and down because they knew before they issued that prospectus, this is July 26th, before it was closed, they knew it was illegal to expose the excesses that these companies could go to in investing and buying these bonds. So that document, dated July 26, reveals the fact that companies buying these Imbert bonds were going to be in violation of the Insurance Act 2018. According to that document, the minister was advised that participating in the NIF bond issue at a certain level was permissible under the old Act. But when the new Insurance Act comes into force, then they're going to be in violation. So they want to amend that law, yes, to go retroactive, backward. But we will deal with them outside the parliament and we will deal with them inside of the parliament on this work that they've been doing. Now, it gets worse. So not only the Insurance Act 2018 being breached, but now this note is also telling us that the same finance institutions will be in violation of the Financial Institutions Act as it relates to limits on the risk profile and exposure of licensed financial institutions and connected parties. My friends, Since July, this government knew that their actions would be putting financial institutions at risk. Did anybody hear that? Every cabinet minister who sat in that cabinet meeting knew it, but everyone has remained quiet. The minister jumps up now, gleefully announcing NIF oversubscribed. You know why? Because they broke the law to allow financial institutions to go above the excess, and therefore exposes those institutions now. I am predicting that once more, Imbert will have to rush to Parliament to try to pass this law to cover up his incompetence. And when we ask questions, he will bleat out as usual foolishness, yes, unpatriotic. Tonight, as a patriotic citizen, I call on the government, I call on Rowley and Imbert to tell us why they hid this from their population, why they violated the law in coming to crow about oversubscribed NIS bonds. I call on Imbert to tell us whether it is true that these institutions are now at risk if they have bought these bonds from you. Would they be in violation of Section 89 of the Insurance Act 2018? Are they in violation of the Financial Institutions Act, Sections 42, 43, and so on? Tell us. What are the penalties that these institutions would now be exposed to as a result of the incompetence and deliberate hiding of facts? Mr. Imbert and Mr. Rowley, tell the country. Why has the country been deliberately kept in the dark about this very serious financial crisis? Tell us, Minister. Why has the Minister of Finance deliberately put the country's institutions at risk? If financial institutions were aware, did they advise their shareholders and depositors? Tell us, Mr. Imbert. So if you were in a credit union, you have your few dollars, did it tell you that they were going to overexpose themselves in breach of the law in this manner? I've looked at every advertisement. I've looked at a website. I've looked at every public statement by every cabinet minister and the paid PR spokespersons for the government. There was never any mention of this significant risk to our financial institutions. I again ask, why has the public never been told? Are you going to have to come to Parliament to ask to increase the credit exposure limit of these institutions because you refuse to guarantee the bond issue? Let me remind you, as I close on this particular issue, let me remind you, do not trust a single word or action of this government. I've shown you again and again, they cannot be trusted, not Imbert, not Rowley, not Sinanan, not one of them. They simply cannot be trusted to do the right thing. So keep your ears open and your eyes wide alert. And examine everything. As I say, do not be distracted. And you know what they continue to do? This shameless Rowley government. They're walking all about beating chest. You know what they're doing? They're taking partnership UNC project and saying that's their projects. Shameless. I saw them come down to my constituency to open a community center. We had completed that center at Bunsey Trace since 2015. They came and refused to open it. I see these fellas strutting up and down. They never invited me, by the way. And I'm told when my councillors went, they had a name tag with my name on the table. But up to today, I received no invitation. But you think you'll come Bunsey Trace, open a community center where everybody knew that was a partnership UNC that built it, and you want to take credit for that. Shameless, members, shameless. They will want to take credit for the Cuba Hospital, you know. They want to change the name, or we call it Cuba Children's Hospital. Why? Because we love children, and we had 80 beds for children. We had all the pediatrics and so on. But Minister, a rose by any other name is still a rose. And that hospital will still be, whether you call it Children Hospital or Cuba Adult, whatever you call it, we are a hospital for all of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I saw the previous Minister of Sport, Darrell Smith, opening aquatic center, cycling center, tennis centers, as though this man and his government built them. Remember, partnership and UNC, we built all those projects. Shameless again, taking credit for them. So what they're doing now, almost 3 years, nothing to show. They're going back and they're opening projects that were completed or almost completed during our time in government and claiming them. They will do that again just with some schools. Schools that Tim had done and so on, over 90%, some of them, some fully completed, spent 3 years. Out of spite and malice, they will not open them. You see them now limping along, tail behind, what do you say? Tail in between their legs, coming to claim these projects. Don't let them get away. When they come in your areas, tell them the highway building on the creek, that was a UNC project, you're just coming to take credit. Aquatic center, cycle center, hospital. Don't let them come and fool you. Your eyes are wide open now. This is a different age and a different time. These incompetent people don't know where to start to get a project going. I want you to call them out on social media or any other means available. Tell them they were built by the partnership and the UNC when we were in government. And start with those hospitals. You know, let me ask you a question, and let's ask Terence the Alsing a question. If the Alsing, in 3 years, cannot open a completed hospital in Cuba, whether it's the Cuba children, adult, the hospital in Cuba for 3 years, that man now beating chest, that he going and open billion point Fortin hospital and a Rima hospital. In 3 years, you couldn't open a hospital that was complete. But you want to take credit for these two UNC projects, the Rima hospital and the Point Fortin. I am taking blame for that. You see those two hospitals? I and the UNC and the partnership, we taking blame for the Cuba hospital. You understand? Blame Kamala. I built it together with our team of MPs and the cabinet. We built. The work started to work in Arima. The work in Point Fortin. We completed the Scarborough Hospital. All the health centers upgraded, man. In 5 short years, we have seen more work in the healthcare system than we have ever seen under the PNM. When was the last hospital built in this country? You can't even remember, it's so long ago. We were able to complete Scarborough, which we had begun under the first UNC government. The San Fernando Teaching Hospital, Arima, Point Fortin, up, about to go. And of course, Cuba. So, healthcare, I'm saying, if this man, I saw him recently, that's why I have to say this. See him talking about he going and open Point Fortin and Arima as if it's PNM work. You take 3 years, you can't open a complete hospital. I'm not wishing you bad luck. I hope that you can open those 2 hospitals that the UNC began. And so what we have is a totally broken healthcare system. Failure by Terence. Incompetence by Terence and his government. And so some may call him the most wicked minister of health. Some may say he's the worst minister we've seen. But then everybody in the Speaker side cabinet, everyone in the Rowley cabinet are incompetent and failures. We see this terrible Terence. He takes pleasure in rejecting children to get help with the Children's Life Fund, you know. It's like every time he has to say no, stands up in the parliament when we ask questions, it's like he's just so happy. When MP Padarad asked him, well, look, if you said there's a shortcoming in the law, we upgrade, will you amend the law to allow these children, so many of them, we've seen coming forward seeking health care, can we amend the law? Terrible Terence, if you don't do it, I promise you I will amend that law. We drafted and we brought it. I will amend it. I will change it. Our children should never have to suffer in this manner. You are a disgrace to humanity and to the children of Trinidad and Tobago. And on top of all of that, this terrible Terence, he now says people will have to pay to go to the Cuba hospital. To pay to go to the Cuba hospital. Man, have a heart now. Just have a heart. We had the plan, Dr. Bodo worked, Dr. Tim, Dr. Khan, Dr. Munilal, we had a whole team, Jillian John. Jillian John, she made sure that hospital was built. And that plan was to have the Coover Hospital earning money, bringing in revenue. Because all over the Caribbean, and even Latin America, Central America, there are people who would come here because that hospital is one of the greatest state-of-the-art hospitals in the Western Hemisphere. And so the plan was that they would come for health care and they will bring money, they would have to pay revenue. So we will earn money and we'll earn foreign exchange. And because of that money that we are earning, yes, we will be able to give free health care to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. That was the plan. MP Fazal Karim, we worked in the tertiary education sector together to train people for the jobs there. We opened the El Dorado Nurses Academy, Medical Personnel Academy to churn out young people to get jobs. They would work in that hospital. That hospital would have expanded. People would have got over 2,000 jobs. So we are earning revenue and we are creating jobs for people. And we were training people for those jobs. All of that has come to naught. You want to bring doctors from Cuba? What about the 600 doctors trained and ready here in Trinidad and Tobago? Where are they? What is to become of them? One minister said, go abroad. Go abroad. I wish he and Terence will go abroad and never come back. Go. Go. You know, years ago, I think maybe in 50 years, they promised Arima, they promised Point. Our government, when we were there, we started these things, we did the work. You know, if they had not changed, the government had not changed, and the spite and malice of this PNM to stop every project, you know those hospitals would have been up and running today. 3 years later, man. Lo and behold, terrible Terence, as I say, going around beating his chest about these hospitals. He's trying to claim these as his own. I want you to remember, just remind them, these were partnership UNC projects. Remind them when they come around. So when they talk about those, tell them, it was a partnership, and it was a government under Kamla Prasad predecessor who did that work. In 3 years, the Al Singh could not even get a doghouse built. Not one. Not one. Can he tell us what he did? Let us see what are his achievements after almost 3 years in government. He is a total failure, and people are paying the price for his incompetence in the healthcare sector. He blames everyone, as his Prime Minister does. He blames the doctors, he blames the nurses, he blames doctors and nurses. These are the persons working in our healthcare institutions. They buy medications and they bring it there. They help people, patients, because there's none. Together with my constituency, we hosted a free medical clinic in my constituency on Saturday. I want to thank all the doctors and nurses who came forward. You know, and I think Caroni Central also had one. You remember a month ago, we did these free clinics in Baratarian in Belmont. The UNC has always done these free clinics. But you know, anytime we want to give something, this way bribing people. Well, Dr. Rowley, you don't have to bribe people to get votes, you know. You just have to serve the people. Serve the people and serve the people. And that's what we've been doing. So I said, Terence can't build a doghouse. And I think I shouldn't say it that way. But what are his achievements? As the rest of this government, their government, they can't point to things. What are his achievements? There is no adequate food supply at the nation's hospitals. There is no adequate supply of medication at the hospitals and health centers. Lack of drips at the San Fernando Hospital. Patients have to buy their own. No strips for diabetic patients and so on. No Salvon baby products or medications for pregnant women and thereafter after they give birth. No napkins, no towels, no soap, no basic medication items at the nation's hospital on a regular basis. No blood tests, no MRIs, no beds, up to 48 hours waiting for a bed. Those are some of the achievements. of the incompetent, terrible Terence. And tonight I want to ask him a question. I read for you before some of the vanity projects these people have been doing. I've spoken to you before from this platform about the Wives Club, the Wives Club of the Rowley P&M benefiting from the largesse from the Treasury via a contract. So tonight I want to ask Minister Diyal Singh. There is a company, the name of it is Unicom. That company now has a contract for several government projects, including the Mount Hope School of Dentistry, the Red House Restoration Project, and I'm told that this company is also handling the reconstruction project at the Port of Spain General Hospital. Tonight I call on Minister Diyal Singh and the Prime Minister of this country to tell us which P&M minister's wife works for this unicorn company that is getting all these contracts. I call upon them to also tell us what was the tendering, what was the procurement procedure for these multi-million-dollar contracts to go to a company in which the wife of a high P&M minister is employed. I call upon them to answer that. You see, they come about unpatriotic and foolish. This is not foolishness. This is taxpayers' dollars. Tell us about the procurement process. And be brave. If everything is abroad, tell us which one, ministers, which one of you, which one is your wife who is working for this unicorn company and how they got those contracts. I want to close with another issue which impacts on the everyday life of every citizen. I could say another wicked minister, another uncaring minister. Imagine a minister who has completely destroyed what we used to have as a Minister of the People and Social Development. This minister, you remember, told people after there was flooding, she said, if you build your house in a lagoon, you look for that. Well, it appears the whole of Trinidad is a lagoon. From Port of Spain, up in the west, in the north, along the corridor, in central, in south. Minister, if you build your government in a lagoon, you'll be swamped and flooded out, and we shall move you out of government come the next election. And this minister had the gall. This minister was so shameless to stand up on a platform to boast of her achievement. And what was her greatest achievement in 3 years? Her greatest achievement was that she had removed about 18,000 people, no food cards. That's her achievement. Big story, 18,000 people, cut, no food card. She boasted of about 13,000 persons she had removed because they didn't come to certify and recertify. Minister, we have people who can't travel. We have people in wheelchairs. We have people displaced, disabled, single mothers. People are afraid when they come into government offices. They don't even know about your process. Some of them too frightened to even come because when they go to your offices, they are totally embarrassed. You know, that is why we had moved that ministry of the people in a different direction. Instead of having people come to you in town for help, people already helpless and vulnerable, we went to them. Glenn Ramadar Singh, direct impact program, you all remember that? In every community throughout the land, even to Tobago had gone in some of them. We went directly, we assessed people and we gave them help. Heartless, wicked, incompetent government. And you know, this minister again boasting, she removed 2 police officers from getting this card. Wow. 3 years. My achievement is to remove 2 police officers. Listen, this is the same police. You want to leave their home, leave their families to go out and fight crime. Same police have to jump in front bullet. Same police giving their lives to save yours and that of your families. And you insult them. You insult them to say you take away their food card. Shame on you, Minister. You are a disgrace to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And what achievements have you had? What achievements do we see? You take away people food card. You take away the cerebral palsy single mother grant to employment. You refuse, excuse me. You refuse to open the building for disabled persons in Casterfield. You refuse to give people flood relief grants. Oh, thank you. These flood relief grants. So many other social development projects shut down. Disability grants. Christine worked in that ministry as well, Niwala Hussain. A total comparison from a government that was people-centered to a government now under Rowley that is 1% centered, cares nothing about the people. And that is why I can feel and share the frustration and desperation of ordinary people in this country, because they have totally demolished, dismantled the social safety net, and then they want to know why people vex with them. Why people are saying they are the most incompetent and wicked government. Because if you do not care for the ordinary people, then you will never see your way. Friends, between the tag team of the Minister of Social Development and terrible Terrence and the others, poor people of this country do not have a chance. So what must we do? The new school term is opening. On Saturday as well, we gave out some school books, some book bags and so on. I know a lot of the MPs have been doing that. I encourage you, sponsors, to assist so we can help those in need with books. So they've taken away the books and the uniform costs. But forget laptops, gone. Will there be school transport when school is open? What about the unfinished schools? You know, the minister has a good trick, the education one. He comes at the start of the term, he says every school open. And then 2 days later, schools started shut down, dropping like flies. So the first day, he makes sure all schools open, but they're not ready. So we'll count him out and watch him on this. What about security for teachers and students? What about the pay increase for the teachers? What about the people paying up to $3,000 per term for school minister? We are watching you. Education, I have told you, is the passport out of poverty and the only way for a better quality of life. I close now. My colleagues and my friends who have taken time to be with us here this evening, tonight. Our country is suffering because of this very incompetent, uncaring, Rowley government. And you want to be careful when you speak, you know. It's not PNM government, you know. It's the Rowley PNM government. Let us separate them. Because I have never seen a more wicked and uncaring government than the Rowley PNM government. Any of you uncertain, undecided, if you have hope that things would change, if you know for certain now how clueless and incompetent this government is, they cannot govern Trinidad and Tobago, remember there is always hope. I have promised you, I will keep that promise. I will ensure that your party returns good governance to our beloved country. I call on all right-thinking citizens to join with us as we work to make Trinidad and Tobago a better place. Already, we are seeing, as I said, the surge of young people, professionals, interested in joining our great party. And they're proving that they are up to the task of rescuing Trinidad and Tobago from the hapless Rowley government. Our party has strengthened. Our party has renewed. Our party has reorganized, and we continue to reorganize. Our councils are showing increased vigor and commitment. Again, I congratulate Sharon in Barataria, Liana up in Belmont. Unlike the PNM, our own internal elections are out of the way. And I thank you for the support you gave us in those elections last year. And so we are ready. We are ready to return our country to prosperity and growth. Are you ready? We have prepared a vision and we have a plan to return stability to our nation, to take us on a progressive path. We will work towards building a society that is just and that is based on merit. We believe in strengthening the family and promoting independence. by engendering a home-owning democracy. Jalen told you tonight about the plans we had with those who held the AGC houses over a long period of time. We were about a land-owning democracy, about a home-owning democracy, and a shareholding democracy as we take our country through progress. We will continue to empower citizens through education and skill development, promoting economic independence. We believe in providing opportunities for the development of new businesses, very important for job creation, new industries for job creation and revenue generation, and for the development of sustainable self-sufficiency, whilst at the same time working to create a culture of being globally competitive. Your party has prepared a vision and a plan to return stability to our country. Again, I commit and remain committed to our party's original vision, which has always been to create a better future for all citizens. I am ready, I am willing, and I am able to work with all of you to take us once again, to take up leadership of Trinidad and Tobago, to take our country forward. If you believe in our vision, I again ask you to join us. Stand with the UNC. Let us come together as citizens, one people, to work to make our country safer and greater for all. Together, I know we can make a difference. We can bring about positive change. We did it once, we can do it again. Are you ready to move us? Are you ready to return the party to rescue TNT? Let us work together. Let us work together and unite as one force as we march forward to victory. Remember always, half of me is yours, and the other half I give to you. May God continue to bless each and every one of you. May I wish our Muslim brothers and sisters greetings for Eid ul-Adha, which is next Wednesday. I thank you all very much, and MP Fazal, all our MPs, senators, councillors, all the men, members of our great party, let us expand and progress. We must grow, we must strengthen, we must rebuild. Each one, bring 3, bring 4, as we join arms and march forward to victory. God bless you, and I thank you very much.
Please hold on, we have our presentation. Please hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are UNC and proud. United, we are moving with the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa.
All right, so you can resume your seats. We want to invite on stage 3 stalwarts of the party, Ingrid, Georgia, and Louise. Today is their birthdays, so give them a warm birthday welcome. And we want to invite, because I can't sing, so we want to invite DT and Brian Mohan, who will sing birthday greetings for them. So as we wait to set up the stage, just one announcement. If there's anyone going to Marigot or Princestown, Bellman might have a person or two who might want to join you to get a lift. So as we bring the cake forward, we ask on Ingrid. We have Ingrid here. We have Georgia. And we have Miss Louise. And if you have been on any of the walks of this great party, these women